Clubhouse.
Welcome back to Pod Clubhouse's press pass coverage of Comicpalooza 2025. This is Paul.
This is Caroline. Paul, when was Comicpalooza this year?
It was June 20th through the 22nd.
And I know that they offered some different things with badges this year. Tell me a little bit about that.
They had badge pickups at different places around Houston, which is nice, prior to the event. So these are much shorter lines. They're usually at a place. This was at, I think ours was at a Chick-fil-A it was at a Raising Cane's. And it was at a location only 10 miles away. So the last time we had early badge pickup, also a short line, but it was 20 miles away, which is, believe it or not, like an hour to get to. So this was very nice for us to be able to pick it up, super easy.
Kudos to Comicpalooza for coming up with such a cool idea to like reach out to the suburbs and have pickups around town rather than making us all go downtown. It's a big deal right now, so we really appreciate that. Tell me about day one. What were you up to? What were you looking forward to seeing?
Day one was a busy day with other personal items, so I made it to Comicpalooza as fast as I could because that was the day Hayden Christensen was doing his only panel.
There was a really big VIP Hayden Christensen experience going on for this event, and this was a portion of it, right? Him doing the panel.
Just one of the portions for that, yeah. So if you had bought one of the either VIP or the Hayden Christensen experience or like, I think there's somewhere in between that, like a fast pass or something like that, you could get preferred seating for Hayden Christensen. I got decent seating, but not awesome seating. So if you see my pictures, usually I like to get my pictures like right up their nose holes, right? And this, but the best I could do was I could get all of him, but not close up on his face.
Okay.
So I was pretty far away. But his panel, which is why I was there, was great.
What was he talking about? I mean, I know Hayden Christensen, of course, from Star Wars, but what was he wanting to talk about? Old stuff like that, or new projects, or fan questions? What was he doing?
A mixture. People wanted a chance to be able to talk to him. So the moderator for this one let the fan questions mix in with his questions.
Okay.
Which, as you know, as a panel attendee, a lot of times the moderator has a pretty strict agenda.
Yeah, sometimes they come in with so many questions that they are certain are going to be wonderful. And this is not exclusive to Comicpalooza in any way, but just panels in general going anywhere. You know, sometimes the moderator comes out and they're like, I've got this stellar list of questions and I'm going to run the show entirely. And it seems like the fans don't really get incorporated that much. So That's very cool that they were at least loose enough with their own questions that they were willing to bring in the audience questions. And
Hayden does his best to give people answers that they want.
Okay. What does it mean?
By that, I mean, he doesn't ever give it was a job or they gave me money, so I did the acting. He doesn't give those kind of answers.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I mean, some people do.
No, I know. Or just like, I don't remember any lines that I ever said in any show I ever did.
Right. Yeah.
And you're like, oh,
yeah.
It was really important to me.
Like his panel ended with a girl that asked him to say a line and he said the line.
Well, good.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. But he was kind of a laid back guy. I don't know if you know, like after Revenge of the Sith, he started to get various acting offers and he didn't think he deserved as much attention as he got. He thought it was like Star Wars shot him to the top of the list, but that he didn't actually earn his way there.
Okay.
And so it's not that he retired, but he did step back and live on a farm in Canada and do farm stuff, you know, like raise crops and animals and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So
kind of humbling.
Yeah. So if you notice like a little gap in his IMDb, that was also when he was having kids with Rachel Bilson but he was not trying to work right then either.
Okay.
But fans had a lot of Star Wars-y kind of questions, you know.
Any other highlights?
I would say if Hayden's coming to your local con, and you're at all curious, I would recommend going to see him.
Okay, that's great. So what else was going on day one? Was Hayden the main thing you were going to see that day?
Hayden was the main thing.
I know it was like he only had the one panel, so it was a big deal for you to get there that day and make sure to catch it.
Yeah, I just have two things to report on day one, actually. The other one is relating to the prepaid parking that we talked about in the pre-con hype. And it's just a recommendation. And it is that Houston has surface lots and they have parking garages. I chose parking garage, and I didn't know that at a certain point they lock their doors and limit access into the garage. It was not super easy getting in and out of the garage. So the next day and the next day after that, I went with surface lots and everything was fine.
Okay, so day one, you were on your own. You didn't have any munchkins with you, but day two, you had some kids in tow. So talk to me a little bit about what you guys went to go see and do on day two.
Day two, we wanted to do kind of a mix of what the kids wanted to see and what I wanted to see. Jack, our son, wanted to see Adam Savage. So we went to we didn't talk to him. We went to his talk and sat in a pretty front row and got a very good view and lots of pictures of Adam Savage. He's a really energetic, smart, nice guy that had a lot to say about the making of his show. People would ask about different, his show, by the way, is Mythbusters, if you don't remember what he's from. He had a history in like special effects. He worked for Industrial Light and Magic and Lucas way back in the day.
That's pretty neat.
And then he had this show where they would try different scientific and kind of engineering type experiments. And
I remember those.
See how it goes.
And on like kind of like urban myth kind of stuff.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. And so he would entertain questions about that stuff. If people would pose, how would you go about XYZ experiment? And he would kind of puzzle it out in the moment. Yeah, it was a lot of fun listening to him go over his history and have people pick his brain. He wasn't on my list, but he was on Jack's. So now that I've seen him, I'm much more curious about his show than I ever was when it was on.
That's a very positive review of a panel because, if a discussion with the audience and panelists makes you want to go watch the show, that's a pretty big success there.
Yeah. Well, and the show's, believe it or not,
on for forever.
Yeah, it ended a while ago.
It did. Okay, so what did you want to see that day?
The other panel, the big headline panel that we saw that day was Patton Oswalt.
What was Patton there for?
Patton was there just because he's Patton. He's
just because he's Patton. Okay.
Yeah, just like
I know he do some voiceover stuff.
He does lots of voiceover stuff, but he's been in like Mystery Science Theater 3000. He was in Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He was Remy from Ratatouille.
I mean, I love his stand-up, and that's what I mainly know him from. But from like our kids and like a con standpoint, I love that he's bringing all these projects to everyone.
He had an animated Marvel show about a character named MODOK, but it was like a family comedy of MODOK and his family. MODOK's a weird character because he's basically a giant face in like this machine that he can drive with his little stubby arms and legs. That's
Okay.
like a floating device, and MODOK stands for made only for killing or something like that. It's something they made back in the 60s or 70s. They didn't need to be very scientific about it.
Oh my God.
So
made only for killing.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Nice.
So that's why it's funny that would be like a family drama or family, like a Family Ties type show, but with these MODOKs. Anyway, people had lots of questions for him, and he was funny in person. People wanted to know about his Parks and Rec Star Wars filibuster, and he talked about that. Talked about, like I mentioned in the pre-con thing, the filibuster is what described the Book of Boba Fett opening shot before it was even a thing. And he said that when he saw that, he felt very honored that they used his description to create that. He was also a great panel to see in person. It wasn't like we were watching a stand-up do stand-up, but he had funny answers to everything that anybody asked him.
Was he promoting a particular project right this moment?
Not this moment. No.
It was just like a general overview of what's going on with Patton these days.
Yep.
I love it.
Pretty much.
Okay. So what else were you guys looking for?
Well, as you know, Elizabeth is...
She is a turtle.
Well, she's
voiceover lover.
Voiceover lover. In this case, she had to dig deep, and she found two things. One was that Cheech Marin had voiced a character on one of her favorite movies. Do you know what that movie is, Caroline?
Well, you can tell everyone.
It's Oliver and Company.
Mm-hmm.
So we took an Oliver and Company DVD for Cheech to sign, and we talked to him for just a minute, and we happened to show up just as his and Tommy Chong's photo op was about to start. So Chong comes through the curtain to be like, "Hey, Cheech, we got to go." So this was, kind of I'm sure it happens at every con they're at, but we were there to see it at this con. Just, I don't know, Cheech and Chong together doing their photo op business. She also wanted Alan Tudyk to sign her Disney on Ice program. But Alan and his autograph ops didn't line up with our schedule that day in a way that we could just jump in line and do it.
Okay.
So I told her I would do it the next day.
Uh-oh.
No, uh-oh. I came through.
Okay.
Came through.
That was worrisome.
No, we got it.
You guys, that is a very bold choice to say we can just get it the next day, because all of us con goers know that schedules can change. People can be there one day and then there's just a sign at their table saying like, "Sorry, folks, this table's closed." So that was a very bold move and not something we typically encourage our listeners to do. If you see something, you have to snatch it up in that moment.
It can go south right away.
Yeah, especially with a kid. Don't make promises.
People get sick.
Anything happens. We've had all kinds of things. We've seen people like fall out at cons and have to leave and be like, "Oh no, like this is like ending right in front of our eyes." So yeah, we've had a lot of different interactions with people. We've had people say, "Yes, come back later. We'll definitely do something with you." And then we come back later and they're like, "Yeah, no, we're not going to do that."
That's a true fact.
And so what the heck? So anything can happen.
That is a fact.
What else did you see?
We spent a lot of time on the exhibition floor with the kids. They wanted to see everything that they had to offer down there. So we saw the various vendors with their comic book stuff. We saw the artists and Artist Alley. We saw the authors. We saw, there was no NASA this year, which was a little different than usual. And if you might remember from the pre-con coverage, I said that I didn't notice anything very conspicuous about the 501st being...
Yes.
They were there, but there were also several other Star Wars costuming and prop building and robot building organizations there also. So there was plenty of Star Wars stuff. You could come and stand in front of their robot display. I know that they're called droids, but, just for the normies out there, the robots. I mean, if you're listening to a Comicpalooza podcast, you're probably a normie, right?
Or you might be super duper into all of this.
Right, exactly. But then they had just, like a indoor speeder you could sit on and take pictures. And they just ask for donations for these things. They don't charge actual money. And there's always people cosplaying at a very high level. Like these organizations like the 501st, they don't actually let you come and cosplay with them unless your cosplay meets their standards.
Which is fair because you want the group to look good.
Yeah, so if you have some half-ass store-bought Darth Vader, remember the masks that we would get when we were kids?
It's just like
the front hat. No, that's not going to work. The vinyl smock, that's not going to fly. And so everybody looks like they're supposed to look, and they'll be in the pictures with you if you want. And anyway, so we saw that. They had a large car show. There was some really nice vehicles in there, some loud and proud with like their anime wraps, some more subtle with just sort of colors and embellishments and things that tie together a single like comic book theme, like Superman or Spider-Man or something like that. Houston Public Library had a pretty good presence.
I love the library. It's my fave. So I always enjoy when they have a table.
They were there, if I understand, kind of side promoting like board gaming, like tabletop board games. So that was sort of their thing. They had books, and they were there to talk about books, but they also had board games as like another reason to go see their business. There was a big Battlestar Galactica area where they had actors from the 70s series and the 2000s series all together at a table where you could go and get pretty reasonably priced autographs and see their models and their life-size Cylon fighter. So that was all kind of neat. And we did that for a long time. It takes a long time to go through all of those things to make sure you don't miss any, great hidden treasures.
How much time would you suggest that people allot for the sort of wandering of the vendor floor and
oh man,
and getting a chance to see everything?
If you want to be careful about what you see and you're not just like speed walking up and down the aisles, I'd give it a couple hours.
I think that's fair. I think it's also a good thing to do, like when you're in between panels and you want to kind of stretch your legs a little bit, kind of walk around, maybe get some food and sort of snack and walk and look. I think it's great just to sort of, I don't know, get ideas about what you might want to be watching next or following next. You might see like the next comic book series you might want to pick up. You might find a new author. You might find a new artist that you love their work. It's a really like laid back time to just sort of like see what's going on in the pop culture / like comic book world right now. Like what's popular? What are people wearing, buying, doing next?
These things shift too. Like when we started coming to Comicpalooza, it was bronies and Quidditch. Now there's not so much bronies and Quidditch.
That's true.
So we've seen, different things come and go. That pretty well tuckered out my charges that day.
For day 2?
Yeah.
Okay, well then what did you guys do for day 3?
I only went to one panel on day 3. It was the Book of Boba Fett panel. It was Temuera Morrison who played Boba Fett. He also played Jango Fett in the Attack of the Clones. He also played Jason Momoa's dad in Aquaman. So you've seen this guy around plenty. And they also had Ming-Na Wen, who played Fennec Shand, his right-hand woman. You know Ming-Na from just a million things, including Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and ER back in the day. She was the voice of the animated Mulan. She's just been in a ton of stuff. And it was just the two of them talking and answering questions. I attended that one just a smidge late because of seating. So I was there mostly for answering questions. And they did their best to answer questions the way that I prefer, like answering a little bit, like taking the character into mind. There was even like some South Pacific Islander dancing at the end of it.
That's cool.
Because he's Maori is his lineage and his history. So I guess that's a traditional way for him to end these sorts of things.
That's very cool. That's very cool. I've seen that done a lot of different places. So very neat.
And I did go see Alan Tudyk
great.
on Sunday. It took me about an hour to get to see him, but once I got to the front of the line, he assessed my Disney on Ice program, of which his character is not featured, and was like, well, okay. And he just signed it, and he even wrote a little quote. I guess his character says something like, I found it with my butt. And that's sort of like a tagline for his character. He even did it in the voice of the character for me.
Nice.
And he was, I only got to spend 30 seconds with him, but he was a super nice guy in those 30 seconds. Smiley, shook my hand, did all the stuff you want him to do. So
that's great. And Elizabeth was thrilled to get her Disney on Ice program signed. So hooray.
I took a picture of it and texted it to her. Did I tell you about this? And she wrote back, Nailed it.
So far, you guys, our kids all have special needs, so that's extra funny that you would be so sassy. Hilarious. I love it. So all in all, what do you feel like was like your big highs and lows of this year's Comicpalooza?
Highs were the quality of the panels. It was sort of a motley collection of celebrities without like a strong running theme, although Alan Tudyk was there with other resident alien actors.
Mm-hmm. But there wasn't like a theme, like an entire show came or an entire movie came or something.
There wasn't that. But for who was there, I enjoyed every panel that I got to see. Laughed along with them, took great pictures of them enjoying themselves here in Houston. So the high was the quality of the content. The low might be the quantity of the content. There's a lot of competition, for convention dollars.
Yeah, that's something we talked a lot about, was the idea that not as many people have a lot of spending cash these days. I mean, all of us are struggling with that. And so it can be really difficult to pick and choose being able to go to a con. Certainly people are struggling with getting like a 3-day pass or something like that. Might just do a 1 day. So you were saying you saw a little ebb and flow of attendance.
I did. And I think it might have to do with the volume of celebrities, not the quality. The celebrities were fine. It was that you've got competition now in Dallas, you've got competition in Austin, San Antonio, smaller regional cons. You've got New Orleans isn't so far away that you can count it out of the mix for competition. And all of those cons are offering more people to come and see. So I mean, I would advise if Comicpalooza were to ask me, I would say, keep your standards high, but try to beef it up a little bit.
So what do you think is the answer though? Because if they beef it up, they're going to have to charge more in theory if they have to pay out to more guests coming. So do you feel like the price point can handle that? Like, can they really do that? Because we were talking about like the Hayden Christensen experience was $800. That was really expensive. We were talking about that a lot, like at a dinner table with family and everything. We were like being like, if you had like a family of 4, that is some serious money you're talking about. Mm-hmm. So did you feel like that they had options where like you could come in at different price points and still enjoy it? Like you could come in, especially like you were talking about the kids' prices were very reasonable.
Kids, but even young adults count as adults. So, and that's
kids is like under 12 or
it's under 6.
Under 6. Okay. But that's very inexpensive, right? Under 6.
Yeah, it was like $6. But here's the thing though. If you're going to go to Dallas or San Antonio, yes, and you're from Houston, yes, you'll need a hotel, but the con itself roughly costs about the same, give or take. And so they're going to have similar vendors, similar artists, even a lot of the same artists do all these same shows, That's what they do every weekend. They're at a show. So if that's the case, but they have 30 celebrities,
right?
And here at Comicpalooza, we've got 10. They're good, but there's 10.
Right. See, part of it, I feel like, though, do you really have time to see 30 celebrities? That's the thing. Like if I'm buying 1-day pass, because that's what my budget can allot right now is like a 1-day pass, isn't 10 celebrities kind of a lot for me to be able to get around to everybody and be able to pay that? Like, also, are you like setting aside a budget for 30 celebrities to actually pay and see all them? Probably not. I don't know. I think that there's pros and cons to having more because I don't want to pay anymore. And I to be honest with you, we've gone to other cons that are more heavily attended. And even as the person who was just dropping you guys off, I mean, it was like horrible with the traffic and dealing with, it took like 30 or 40 minutes just to get anywhere near to the doors to get you guys, not at this con, but at other ones. So there's pros and cons to adding more people to these itineraries, because I think that on one hand, yes, it's exciting to have more people and more variety. But on the other hand, do I want thousands of more attendees? Not necessarily. I don't want it to be crazy. So I think it's important that these cons find their mix of like how many people, especially for the space, for the food, for the vendors, like do they have enough product? Do they have enough everything? Do they have enough just general interest things to look around and go do? Like you were talking about the wrestlers, or, they used to do Quidditch. They used to do, I don't also sort of like I want to like demonstrations. Do you remember they're doing like?
Oh, they had the medieval fighters.
Yes,
also.
that stuff. I was thinking there was some sort of martial artist. Some years we've seen people do all kinds of stuff in the little arenas. So all in all, I mean, I think Comicpalooza is a good mid-sized con. I don't think it's super overwhelming. I think if you're local, this is an easy one, especially with the badges, how you can just get them more local to your home instead of having to go downtown. And it's like, it's at a price point, and the amount of people that are there and then the amount of actual vendors and celebrities, it feels like the right mix. I don't actually want this con to get so big that it ends up being like some of those ones where like, I mean, you guys can have come out of some cons where you tell me we literally sat in line all day and we saw one person.
Yeah.
And everyone's frowning. And that con might have had 500 celebrities. It doesn't matter. You saw one. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know if that's actually better.
I'm just thinking about the con and its longevity, and will the organizers have what they need to keep going, to keep giving Houston its only big con like this?
Well, it's up to us, you guys, as listeners. It's up to you guys to show up for things like this so that we do get to keep these cons in our city, because guess what? They can't stick around. If we don't show up and we don't go to these things, and then you sit in your house and you're like, oh, I wish there was a new show. I wish there was a new thing. I wish there was a new whatever. And there could be, but you need to get out there and go see these things. So definitely next year when Comicpalooza rolls around, check out the tickets, check out the badges, see what's in your price point, gather your friends, gather some family, whomever wants to go with you. Go check it out. Even if you go by yourself, there's always stuff. You go by yourself all the time because you like to be footloose and fancy free with just your backpack and yourself, and you go and enjoy and just browse, right? Just see what's new, what's going on out there in pop culture.
And just like a lot of cons, the best pricing happens early. It's a weird thing about all cons. So you're not going to find the con exactly where you're going to know who's going to be there and then decide to buy the ticket at the best price. That's never going to happen.
You have to trust the con that they are going to turn out a good amount of people or people you want to see.
You needed to know last year and go to Comic-Con San Diego so that you could get a better spot for getting into the lottery this year, so that you could see George Lucas in his very first Comic-Con ever. You had to know that last year, which you couldn't. You just have to buy the tickets and go. And it's the same with Comicpalooza. If you want the best price, you just got to buy it knowing that they're going to do their best to bring the best people they can to you.
I agree. This is Caroline.
And this is Paul. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. 5 stars and a comment help this show stand out amongst the others in this category and help people find it. Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening. This has been an original Pod Clubhouse production. Pod Clubhouse is a podcast network dedicated to encouraging collaboration among podcasters and friends to bring a fresh voice and diverse perspective on a wide array of content. Please visit and leave a comment for us at podclubhouse.com. Rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast feeds on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can find us at Pod Clubhouse. Our DMs are always open, and we'd love to hear from you.
Pod Clubhouse.